So here's the thing. You don't have to change an entire system. You just have to change the people. This is day 24 of the Daily Shift series. We're almost done with this. It's wild. You guys got videos every single day this month on mindset, manifestation, all of that good stuff. The month of October is nearly over. Our challenge is nearly finished. This was amazing. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you're watching this after October, that's okay. The videos are still up. They're in their own playlist on my YouTube. You can go catch the whole series anytime. So today, we're talking about leaders and how I believe the way that we understand, recognize, the way that we understand and recognize leaders is powerfully changing. I think a really great example of this would be influencer culture. Social media influencers are leaders. If you can lead a fashion trend, then you can lead certain ideas and beliefs. We no longer have an experience because we have so much access to information. We no longer have an experience where we just have to believe the things that anyone is telling us, because there's an abundance of resources, books, articles, videos. There's an abundance of resources that are going to give you different points of views and different perspectives on anything that's happening in the world. And there are so many people, and we're all so incredibly connected that it's not really possible to hide what's going on. It's not really possible to deceive the people, because communication is what it is. So we're living in an age where the way that we communicate with one another is really different. The way that we access ideas and information is really, really different. I think at some points, if you wanted to lead people and you wanted to share your ideas with the world, there was a certain specific channel that you really had to go through. Maybe you do run for office in your city. Maybe you do really get into local politics. But now, anybody can create a platform for themselves. And that's kind of, for better or for worse, depending on your perspective and, your lived experience. But the point is that you no longer have to be a quote-unquote official person to be recognized as an official person, to start a movement to positively change and impact the lives of the world. My work has saved lives. The work that I have done over the past several years has radically changed real human lives. And I've been able to accomplish that by the platform that I've built. So my point here is that we're recognizing leaders in a different way. And when we recognize leaders in a different way, or when we develop a different understanding of what it means to be a leader, we realize that anyone can lead. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, because if you have certain structures and ways of being in the world that you don't agree with and that don't work for you, shifting your physical reality isn't going to change anything. tearing down certain structures isn't going to change anything. A really beautiful example, the perfect example, oh my God, yes, would be slavery in prison. You just abolish slavery. You just pass a little law. And, well, not so suddenly, but more and more, the people are being freed. And because you've taken these people who have been born into an experience where they don't have any perceived power, they are working and utilizing their energy and their focus for the benefit of somebody else. They don't have a strong sense of self-worth or value. And these are just the consequences of being enslaved. It's the consequences of generations of your family experiencing enslavement. It's not anything personal. It doesn't mean anything about who you are as a person or who you get to be. But it's literally just a lived consequence of being alive. So you take these people who don't really feel worthy of having good lives and you tell them, go off into the world and do whatever. Changing the law didn't change the dominant vibration of a majority of Black people when slavery was abolished. Changing the law didn't change their perception of who they are and who they got to be. And if you experienced enslavement for all of your life, that's all you've ever known, it's embedded in your DNA. You have the perception that you're somebody without power. You have the perception that what you want and what you need doesn't matter, that it's not significant. You have the perception that your job is to work for somebody else and to live in terrible conditions. You have that perception of yourself. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you dumb. It's literally just a natural consequence. It's the way that our brains are wired. It's the way that we function as human beings. It's not a personal slight. It is what it is. If that is the perception that you hold, we are the creators of our reality. Even when you feel like you are oppressed, you're still the creator of your fucking reality. So if you're creating your reality and you're telling these stories of low self-worth, you're a vibrational match. And like, it's not funny, and like, it's really, really serious. It's like a really, really big deal. You're a vibrational match. You're going to attract and you're going to create some sort of a system exactly fucking like that. And then we have the prison industrial complex. Because yeah, and it's not really like, oh, it's only enslaved people's fault. There are other people who were telling the story that the only way for them to make money and to make riches are to exploit the labor of people and not care about their well-being at all and do all of these fucked up psychologically damaging things to them, right? So it's a co-creative process in more ways than one, but still the vibration remains. The vibration remains. With Martin Luther King and Brown versus the Board of Education, you can change the law. You can say, okay, we don't want segregation in our schools because it's negatively impacting our children. Okay, we're going to segregate the schools. You pass the law, but it doesn't change the vibration. You still have children, Black children, who are under the impression, who are living in the vibration because it was passed down to them, by their parents who got it passed down to them, by their parents who got it passed down to them, by their parents. And again, this is a natural consequence of like being an enslaved person. Like it is what it is. So you have these kids who don't feel worthy of a good education. You have these kids who don't understand that they're worthy of the support that they need in order to be set up for success in their lives. You have these kids who don't fucking understand it as a natural consequence of their lived experience. Really great example of this. I went to the high school that I graduated from is the worst. And, well, it's not the worst, it's just not very good, okay? So, I had a terrible time at that school because I know what it's like to go to a really good school. I know the consequences of going to a really good school. And we don't have time to get into my whole life story right now. But I know the difference. So, when I was in high school and I was like a junior in high school I think it was a junior in high school, and I was like complaining about we get such a terrible education at this school. One of my friends who at that school, she was like a straight A student, you know what I mean? Like we called them like AP kids. I mean, technically I was an AP kid, but not one that got really good grades. You know what I mean? So she was like a kid who's in like higher placement classes and like gets really good grades, right? So she's like, I like the education that we get here. I think the education is great. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, because you think it's great. It must fucking be. Then she went to college, and she went to college at the University of California, Santa Barbara. And I think it was like her second year being in school. She was like a sophomore. I had gone to visit her. No, she must have been a junior. I don't know. At some point, I visited her a lot there. So at some point we were there, and she was like, dude, the education that we got at insert the name of our high school was really fucking trash. I look around at all of my other peers and they are so better prepared. Yeah. That's what the fuck I was talking about. Way back when. But she wouldn't know that. She wouldn't understand that because that's all that she was born into. And even having a family who might have had a little bit more money, she still came from a place that didn't feel worthy of a really valuable education that powerfully sets you up for success in your life. So our perception of who we are and what we get to have is just a natural consequence of our lived experience and our parents' and like ancestors' lived experience, depending on how much your family has or hasn't cleared. You know what I'm saying? And just because we've changed laws, you can't have segregation. Okay, we can't have segregation. What do we have now? Is it called gerrymandering? Is that what it's called? Hold on, I have to look it up. Yes, I'll read the definition of gerrymandering according to Wikipedia. In representative democracies, gerrymandering is the political manipulation of electoral district boundaries with the intent to create undue advantage for a party group or socioeconomic class within the constituency. So, okay, we're going to change the laws. We don't have segregation anymore. Okay, well, now you're a vibrational match for gerrymandering. Okay, we're going to change the laws. We don't have slavery anymore. Okay, now you're a vibrational match for prison. You can change the physical reality all the live long day. Abraham Hicks has said it in a way where she said people talk about money. The reason I don't have power is because that rich billionaire is so selfish. The reason why I don't make more money is because the CEOs of the company. I'm anti-capitalist. I'm anti-capitalist. I'm anti-capitalist. I hate capitalism. Blah, da, 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 right? Blow it all up. If you were to take the current system and you were to blow it all up and you were to distribute all the money evenly, Abraham Hicks is like, it would go right back to the same fucking places. And I really understand that more now than ever. It's the reason why people win the lottery and then within a year, the money is fucking gone. You can change your physical reality. But as long as your vibration remains the same, you're going to create the same fucking scenarios. You're going to create the same fucking experiences. If you win the lottery and you still hold the perception that I'm a broke person, I struggle with bills, I never have enough money to get by, you're going to push that money out of your reality. You're going to repel that money. So today we're having a conversation about energy. We're having a conversation about what it really means to be a vibrational match to something and why you do not need to focus on changing a system. You have to focus on changing the people. If you create a world where more people feel empowered, your problems will literally solve themselves. Because people who feel empowered take different action and they do things differently. When I see negative things going on in the world because I'm someone in power, my first question is, how can I support? How can I help? I'm saying a prayer, Lord, use me as a vessel to get more support and get more help out there. When I saw certain things that were going on in Palestine, I was like, God, how can I be a vessel? How can I help? How can I be of service? And I literally just felt guided to do this EFT tapping for even when I feel powerless to the things that are happening in the world, even when I buy into that lie, even when I buy into that story that I'm powerless, I can remind myself that I do have power. I can remind myself that I do have a positive impact in my world, and I can choose to believe that the world is getting better every single day. I recorded that video. I posted that video. There were people on TikTok not only liking that video and commenting on that video, but also saving that video. There are people of various faiths and ethnicities who are some even very personally impacted by the events that are occurring that got access to that video, and that video powerfully supported them in some way in making them feel better. And when you feel better, your vibration is higher. And when your vibration is higher, you're a vibrational match for everything you want and fucking desire. You know what I'm saying? So that's an incredibly valuable thing that I felt to give, that I know that I can give. Hold on. Okay, to double check that we're still recording. But if I felt empowered, I saw somebody on a TikTok comment. They said, I just feel so powerless. I'm so angry and I just feel so powerless. When you look at terrible things happening and you feel powerless to doing anything about it, you don't have access in your fucking awareness. You don't have access in your awareness to how can I support, how can I give, how can I help, how can I be of service. Value isn't just money. Empowered people think differently. Empowered people feel differently. Empowered people get online and say, do you know any reputable places that I can donate, that I can give support, that I can give aid? How can I support? How can I help? The civil rights movement was funded in a lot of ways by wealthy Black people. to be a wealthy Black person, to be somebody willing to allow themselves to receive more than enough money. Put Black people in the position to help and give back and support the causes that were important to them. Empowered people get into a mode of, how can I help? How can I serve? How can I support? How can I do something? When I'm empowered, I understand that my actions have consequences in my physical reality. When I'm empowered, I understand that I can have a positive impact on my life and on the world around me. Empowered people think differently. Empowered people show up differently. Empowered people get different results. There's a lot of people making phone calls, making poster boards, showing up to places, talking a lot of shit online. And all of this energy that they are expending, is that the word? All of this energy they're putting into this while staying at the vibration of disempowerment, staying at the vibration of blame, staying in the vibration of powerlessness. And then getting frustrated about the lack of progress. So my point is that I think who we perceive to be leaders is drastically changing. We're recognizing the power of media more than ever before, and how the leaders we choose in terms of the media that we consume, we understand that they're impacting us. Leaders look like people who create content, whether it's people who are writing, producing, creating movies, or people who are writing, producing, creating content on YouTube. Leaders are people who are sharing their heart and making a positive difference in the world. And if you're a leader and you want really good results, it would powerfully serve you to shift your focus to how can I positively impact the people. You're not fighting against the system that was working as it was designed to. You're not fighting against a system that is rigged and that is working in opposition to your favor and your highest good. That's a vibration. That's a story you're telling yourself, and it's not one that serves you. That's literally a fucking story of powerlessness. I'm fighting against this system that was made in order to sabotage me and stop me from succeeding. The system was made in this way. The system was made in this way. The system was made in this way. The system was set up for me to fucking fail. You're on a fucking, what is that? I'm trying to think of the word. I feel so empowered. Powerlessness comes so difficult to me. It's like an impossible thing. And yes, it did take me that long to come up with the word impossible, because that's not really in my vocabulary. I don't really know anything about that lifestyle. You tell yourself that something is fucking impossible, it'll be impossible. You tell yourself that something is fucking hard and difficult, it'll be fucking hard and fucking difficult. You tell yourself that the people in power aren't for you, then you're telling yourself that you certainly don't have any power. That's not helping you. That's not supporting you. That's not helping you get to where you want to go. That's not helping you serve to the best of your fucking ability. So number one, we're recognizing that anybody can be a leader. And I talked about media, but it's literally just I'm recognizing that I have the power to impact other human beings around me. Because anybody can be an influencer. You can be an influencer with 12 followers. You can be an influencer to your family. You can be an influencer to your friends. You can be an influencer to your coworkers. Anybody can be influenced by you. So being a leader is no longer this thing that's so hard and difficult to achieve. When you step into a position of empowerment in your own life, you automatically become a leader. Because the way that you show up is different. Your energy is different. And everyone you come in contact with, energy shifts energy. Everyone you come in contact with, their energy is being shifted just by being in your presence. So everyone is a leader. And if you want to change the world, you don't have to go after some big, bad, huge, humongous thing that everybody who comes up against loses. You don't have to do that. Impact the people in your life positively. And you're a fucking leader. And you're changing the world. And you'll see more change. And the structures under which you live will change to reflect the change and the shift in your vibration. That's why we have the first woman president in the United States. Because the collective of the people, the collective of women, are in positions of leadership more than ever before. And who are the women who are predominantly in positions of leadership? Who are the women who have the most businesses? Black women. I don't know how fresh that statistic is, but it probably is still the same. No shade to anybody else, whatever, just saying what it is. So it would make a lot of sense that the more you get empowered, the more you step up, the more that starts being reflected by those structures. The more you feel worthy of having your rights taken into consideration, the more you feel deserving of representation, the more you feel worthy of your wants, needs, and desires being taken into consideration, the more that is reflected in your government structures, in your ways of being. You can impact the world so greatly that people are walking around feeling empowered and entitled to well-being, safety, security, joy, pleasure, enjoyment. Then you will consequently create a reality where less people are in prison. You will consequently create a reality where there are better schools. You will consequently create a reality where so much is significantly fucking better. You can start a movement. That's fucking huge. So I hope that this inspired you. I hope that it helped you feel empowered, important, and significant, because you are. I hope you're enjoying this challenge. Give me some hearts in the comment per usual. If you like this message, if it helped you, if you want to tell me more about how it helped you, I'd love to hear it. And I will talk to you in the next one.